With Update 5 just released, some of our most wished for co-op features have arrived to Enshrouded. So in this video, we go over these changes, but also take a closer look at some of the upcoming multiplayer features and our predictions about how they might look. To top this off, we also discuss some co-op features that haven't made their way onto the roadmap yet, but we eagerly hope will come to Enshrouded eventually. So let's get started.
If you have watched our Enshrouded co-op review, you might remember us talking about how we missed some social features in Enshrouded. We had our highest hopes that these would be added to the game eventually, but them arriving this quickly was a huge surprise. First off, and absolutely crucial for group communication, a chat. Keen has implemented a server-wide chat for everyone to see and participate in wherever they are. By the way, player deaths do not get logged. Looks like I can still die undercover.
Talking about, well, talking, there is also an in-game voice chat now. So you don't have to rely on Discord, TeamSpeak or shouting out of the window anymore. The voice chat comes in two different versions. Proximity will pick up anything close by, while the global variant will carry shouts from far beyond the Albanese summits. Except if you choose to toggle it off, which is also the default. So be sure to check the settings if you want to use them.
Finally, they also gave us emotes. Because, let's face it, decoding your crouch jumping language wasn't really doing it anymore during combat. Emotes can be used over a quick wheel, and there are already 10 to choose from. Sitting down is now also considered an emote and can also be found among them. These emotes get logged in the chat as well, so there is a 0 chance that your shrugging will go by unnoticed. The chat even logs player actions like sitting down, so now you can play Simon Says to decide who will get to keep that legendary sword.
All three together make the world and the team play so much more lively. Playing with random people will be easier now too, since until now there was no simple way to communicate. However, there is still work to do when it comes to random groups, but we will tackle this in our wishlist section at the end.
Now, let's talk about the new roadmap, which was revealed hand in hand with Update 5. Just be mindful that there is some speculation of our part involved, as these updates have not yet been revealed in detail. It's not yet clear what these are all about besides the title, or when these changes will go live, but we will keep you updated.
The first one is teleporting to other servers. This could be implemented over a friend list, where you can chat with each other and, if someone needs help, you simply join their server. That would allow for some neat quick join action, like the SOS flares in Monster Hunter. But maybe we are overthinking here, and it's just a more polished way to swap from your own server to someone else's session. But we will see.
The next one is called Community World Sharing. This one sounds like a biggie and could go in two ways. Either the emphasis lies on the community part, and Keen is planning on big community servers or server interactions. Imagine playing on your own server, but having designated zones where phasing between other servers of a community could occur. So occasionally, you would encounter build structures or even people from other servers within the same community cluster. Wouldn't that be awesome? Another take on that feature could be the sharing part. Here, we imagine a feature to export and import parts of your world to share with the community. Got a cool homestead you want others to see? Don't just snap a picture of it, but let others use your building in their own world instead. We're sure this would fuel the many creative minds in the Enshrouded community even more.
And lastly, editable signs. We imagine a system similar to how it works in Valheim or Satisfactory, where you may hang up customizable signs to label chests, for example, which would certainly help when playing with others that did not quite grasp your multi-level chaos structure of sorting twixt just yet.
Now, on to our wish list. Things that we'd love to see until the game leaves early access, or even beyond. The full release is expected to be spring 2026, so there is still plenty of time for the devs to work on everything shown on the roadmap, but maybe even things not shown here. These wishes are mainly co-op play focused, of course. So we will not be talking about performance or technical improvements, especially since these are part of the ongoing improvements mentioned on the roadmap anyway.
Teleportation to players would be one of these nice to haves. Currently, there is a little workaround. Carry around 5 stones, craft an altar, let people teleport to said altar, and destroy it again. However, you always need to keep in mind to carry around 5 stones and not to have maxed out numbers of altars. giving players the ability to teleport to each other, whether by simply using the map or even by crafting something like a teleport scroll, and then using those would be way more convenient. This way, people could split up and join each other more easily without having to coordinate a meetup.
Regarding combat, we would love to see some spell synergies. We're not only thinking about elements like combos for your own class, but more so synergies between players. Buffing, debuffing, or even spells you may only pull off together would feel extremely rewarding. To not disadvantage solo players, this could be enabled by NPC companions or item effects.
NPC companions for solo play would be awesome, if they are a tiny bit intelligent, that is. But talking about real companions and the continuation of the random group topic. Currently, your own items are accessible to everyone joining your server if you open up your game with the friend role set to public. If you don't do that, randomly joining players can neither build anything nor access your chests or factories with the helper role, making them sole visitors in your world. We imagine that this could drive away lots of players to enjoy the game in co-op at all, especially without a dedicated group to play with. Thus, we would love to see lockable chest and session-based loot. Lockable chests or chest permissions could be configured to be accessible only for the host. You would be able to lock away your hard-farmed items while still be able to share specific ones with others.
On top of that, session-based loot would allow people that join your server to only take stuff that they have gotten themselves during this session. So even if you grant access to some of your chests, they couldn't just leave with their content, as it would be returned to the chest on their departure.
Of course, for dedicated groups, these should be possible to be toggled off.
You just want my shiny loot, don't you?
You can keep that rusty shield, I'm taking the bow. But talking of loot, another point we have is just that, loot distribution in co-op multiplayer. As of now, loot can feel a bit frustrating. Someone will naturally draw the short stick, as whatever drops is not individual, and you will have to find your own looting rules. Going round robin, meaning that you will alternate between who gets the next drop, doesn't always make perfect sense, as getting that sword for a magic build is pretty useless.
Right. And so you will have to fall back to dividing drops and materials as best as you can, to keep it fair. And if the loot you're after is something dropped in chests, you will have to play the relock game. Open the chest, log out, log back in, and the chest will be refilled. But the saddest part? Well, as chests can only be claimed by one player, your co-op partners are still left out.
So what we would love to see would be either individually lootable chests, as well as individual drops on bosses, or another way to farm sensitive equipment other than opening chests. Maybe make those rings carrying frost resistance and other important items craftable instead of lootable. It's handled that way already with a lot of equipment. For example, the Albanese armor sets, which is a great solution that we would love to see more of. And the chests could be instead filled with recipes or blueprints for new equipment, furniture, or even parts of legendaries and uniques, so that chests don't lose their appeal and instead are part of a scavenger hunt.
But I have one last point on the wish list. Nox, do you know what it is?
Knowing you, it must be more farm animals.
Close, but wrong. It's mounts. And I'm not only talking about saddling your yak, I'm talking fast horses, wildcats, wolves, or, hear me out, flying dragons.
The first part I could see Keen pulling off. The last one, maybe if we stop asking when the game will release on consoles.
Please, Keen Games, we need dragons.
But we got dragons at home.
No, not these guys. They and me, we can never become friends after all that's happened between us. I mean, real dragons.
With at least 2 saddles, of course. Oh man, that idea got me sold.
But that's it for this video. What else would you like to see in terms of co-op in the future of Enshrouded? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to save the Ember Whale in co-op with your favorite people, and we will see you again in the next one.